Common Sense with the Senior Delinquents.
Tony here's your quarterback. You protect his blind side. When you look at him, you think of me.
The Blind Side was an inspirational film based on the story of a homeless teen who was taken in and nurtured by a well-to-do family. He went on to become a star player in college and the pros. But while Sandra Bullock won an Oscar for her portrayal as the family's mother, like so many professional athletes, when their playing careers were over, it has not been a happy ending. So I'm Dennis Silvers here in Las Vegas, along with my co-host Jamie McWilliams, who is in Tampa, Florida. Michael Oher is suing the family that essentially adopted him, claiming that they made millions of dollars from the film and left him at the station when the gravy train arrived.
Dennis, the national media was quick to run with this story, wanting to paint a picture of exploitation by a white family taking advantage of a black teen. But in the rush to push this narrative, some big questions were never asked. First, Sean and Lee Toohey ran many fast food franchises. The business consisted of 115 Taco Bell and KFC restaurants, and according to the Franchise Times, valued at $100 million. Michael might have had some potential, but without a certified crystal ball, there was no way to predict his future athletic success. So they didn't need the money. Another aspect not brought out, do you know how much Michael Oher earned as a professional? After playing for Ole Miss, the Baltimore Ravens selected Oher as the 23rd pick in the 2009 NFL Draft and signed him to a 5-year contract. That deal was worth $13,495,000. He then went on to have an 8-year career in the league, Spot Track, and Over the Cap, which track athletes' salaries earnings both put his total at over $34 million. So what happened to that money? Why would Michael Oher even care about movie royalties with tens of millions of dollars?
Jamie, as you know, we both know, NFL players make enormous salaries, but they have a relatively short amount of time to make the big time money. So I think that we could both agree if you and I made that kind of money, we would probably hold on to a fair amount of it.
No maybes at all. We would hold on to some of it. But I'm going to give you another example of a football tragedy. Many years ago, when Clemson University won the national championship, I produced a story on NBC looking at the possible paying of student athletes. See, money always plays a role. I interviewed a freshman, William the Fridge Perry, and frankly, he had trouble putting two sentences together. But his size, strength, and skills led to an amazing career. With the Chicago Bears, in Super Bowl 20, he ran the ball into the end zone and did the Super Bowl shuffle. With the championship came almost instant media fame. Perry was featured in a number of national commercials for McDonald's and Coca-Cola.
Stop on in at McDonald's this week and pick up your prize.
And an even bigger bear.
Give me a case, Coke. You gotta keep a lot of Coke in the refrigerator.
He was coached into speaking clearly, but despite the fame, glory, and incredible money, there was also incredible weight gain to over 400 pounds. Add in diabetes and crippling diseases, and the Fridge lost most of his fortune and now resides in an assisted living center.
Jamie, you would think stories like this are really a rarity in the NFL with the tremendous money that these guys make. And don't forget, they have a relatively short period of time to make, really gigantic money. But what happens to a lot of them after they retire is just astounding. According to the NFL, the percentage of players that go broke after retirement, you won't believe this, is about 16%, with, get this, 80% of them going bankrupt within the first 3 years after their retirement. And of course, the biggest reason for that they figure is either poor or absolutely no financial planning. There are other reasons as well, but these have to be the standout. How about somebody like Warren Sapp? How about somebody like Archie Griffin? My favorite, LT, Lawrence Taylor, Dan Marino, if you can believe that, and Bernie Kosar. We've got a very special guest today. Ron Futrell has been an award-winning newscaster, knows just about every athlete on the planet. So I think he could speak to what we are talking about. Ron, can you maybe give us some insight as to why you think this happens? And maybe some people that this happened too.
Well, a lot of variety of reasons. First of all, variety. They could just blow through it themselves. A lot of times it seems like it's family members that they are trying to support, and they're working hard, a noble cause to take care of family members, and it ends up draining them, and they become the meal ticket for a dozen or more people, and that's unsustainable. And even if you're making millions and millions of dollars, it's hard to sustain that when you've got to support that many people. So often that's the case. Case in point, Darius Rucker, Hootie and the Blowfish. He told his family from South Carolina, I am getting rich, you are not getting rich. Sort of harsh words, right? He said, now if you need something and there's a critical need, obviously I'm going to be there. But I'm not here to support the entire family. You guys have to keep sustaining yourself. Well, at one of his, he hadn't seen his father for 20 years or so. His father came to one of his shows. He was happy to see his father. Home that night, there was a voicemail message that said, Darius, I need $50,000. Can you send me $50,000, please? Never saw his dad again after that. Bad investments is another one. The story of Lenny Dykstra. I loved him as a player with the Phillies, and he made some bad investments. There's a lot of athletes that have that story. So there's a variety of reasons. Having to pay child support. They're on the road. They're with different women. They have baby mamas everywhere, and they end up having to pay child support. So go down the list. It's sad. It's unfortunate. One thing I don't have to worry about is ever having that sort of money to blow it.
Yeah, we were saying that if we had $32 million like Michael Oher, you say, why would he be going back for money at all? I don't think we'd be in that situation.
Yeah, the leagues work hard to try to give financial advice to the athletes. It's only as good as if you want to take it.
A lot of these athletes that get into the NFL or major league sports that start making big time money, they came from poverty, and all of a sudden they have so much money, guys, they think they're never going to run out, and it does happen. Do you agree with that?
Oh no, absolutely. And it's
well, you must see some of that in Las Vegas when the players, either the homes or the cars or the bling. You've worked with the Raiders a lot, so you must notice that, and or have you noticed it?
It's fun walking in the parking lot at the Raider headquarters, put in additional covered parking. And it is interesting to see the cars that are there that are now, again, in the covered parking. You got the tragic story of Henry Ruggs. Played at Alabama, did not have a whole lot of money as a kid growing up. All of a sudden got rich, was the #1 draft pick for the Raiders. Buys a new Corvette, one of the most expensive cars you can get, a $300,000 Corvette. Driving at 156 miles an hour, rear ends a gal here in Las Vegas, kills her with his girlfriend in the car, and Henry Ruggs survived. He was fine for the most part after the accident, and now is going to serve anywhere from 3 to 10 years in prison for vehicular manslaughter, for killing. Yeah. And this was a young guy who had a great career ahead of him with the Raiders in the NFL, and took that money and blew it. How about the NFL have the guys take driver's training? And I mean that seriously. They're driving race cars on the streets of Las Vegas.
I had a chance to talk with a person who worked with the Bucks, and he talked about the team having somebody counsel the people. But when I did a little research, I saw that the NFL Players Association is supposed to have financial counselors. Have you seen any of this? You'd think that they would be the ones saying that this has become almost an industry. The millions upon millions of dollars that get wasted, you could retire just on the mistakes.
Good point.
We're told, no, I have not seen it firsthand, but we're not in those meetings. They're not, they're not going to put media in those meetings. Those are private meetings that they say they have, which I believe they do. I'm sure they would. The What they also have to be very careful of the agencies that they sign with. You got to make sure that they're scrupulous, because often those agencies will offer financial services, and then they have all these tremendous pressures on them from, like I said, family already, talking about the family stuff, but also investment friends. They've got to hang out with they don't want to lose their old friends. They want to hang out with their buddies. And
Right.
Mike Tyson is a classic case of that. Starting out with one group and then going into another group with Don King and losing more than $100 million. There's lawsuits, and it's ugly, it's bad. So he's a pot farmer today. Now makes his money off appearances and edibles and pot. I do feel sincerely bad for the athletes that have all those pressures on them, that have worked hard to make the money, and it's astronomical amounts of money that they're making now. But then they become targets in so many ways for unscrupulous friends, family members, and other people that are trying to take it from them. And they often, unfortunately, often do.
Yeah, they do. Ron, thanks again. You do a great job here with sports here in Southern Nevada.
Thank you.
And your information is always well worthwhile, and we appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on.
That's right.
See you guys.
Pleasure. Don't forget, everybody, you could catch every single episode on our website, seniordelinquents.com, as well as various other social media platforms. Jamie, who's your friend?
Well, this little guy decided to watch the football game here in Florida with me, but I didn't know that he was going to take my drink. So, would you hold on? Would you? Anyway, hi ho, Silvers, away! Oh no.